What's up, vaqueros? Welcome back to another shotgun episode, and today I have to be that guy. I'm going to be that guy to talk about the Lockwood 300, and more specifically that dual trigger that was introduced, the Maelstrom trigger that fires both barrels at the same time, because this thing has been running rampant in Warzone. It has been overtaking the close range meta, and it's kind of ridiculous. And when you have a gun that is sort of one and done, that's difficult to use, or should be difficult to use, and it's that popular, something generally is out of whack, and I think the balancing might be a little out of sync. So today's episode, I'm going to be talking about whether or not it should be nerfed, talk about maybe how to nerf it, and just sort of general ideas about the gun and how to balance it overall. So if that sounds good to you, go ahead and stick around because I'm just hopping right into it. So first off, to answer the major question, should this thing be nerfed? Yes, 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 absolutely. I can say confidently after using it quite a bit, after having been killed by it quite a bit, this thing is way too oppressive. And there's this fine line between a shotgun being powerful and very viable, but taking some skill to use, and then crossing the line into just oppressive and obnoxious. And the Lockwood 300 with this trigger attachment has done the latter, where it's basically just kind of running rampant because it's not that difficult to use, and it's so rewarding. And I know a lot of people are probably thinking, well, it only has one shot and then you got to reload, so it's balanced and it should one shot. And I agree with that to a degree, but it's not so black and white. When you take the pros and cons of using a gun, this thing, the pros outweigh the cons by so much because the reload speed isn't really that bad. The range on this thing, absolutely ridiculous. You're one-shotting people out 9-10 meters if you're aiming down sights. It's not difficult to use. You just kind of have to aim and sort of hit your target, and bam, you get a one-shot kill. And I get why people might think that, but again, like I said, it's not so binary. It's not so black and white. Just because it can one shot and only has one shot and you got to reload means it can one shot however and it's done and balanced. No, it needs to be a little bit more nuanced than that. So what should exactly happen? Well, in my opinion, first of all, don't touch the base gun. Don't touch anything about the Lockwood. This thing has been just kind of crap for all of its lifetime in the game. I mean, Dragon's Breath is really good and I really like it for solos, but in general, this gun as a whole just really hasn't been that good. And then to see it go from that very niche and kind of funny troll weapon to, oh my god, everybody's using it now, there's definitely some sort of disconnect there. And I'm honestly kind of confused why they did such a hard job and such hard work balancing the game, and then they introduced this and it just kind of threw everything out of whack, especially when sniper rifles can't one-shot headshot. I don't know, it just kind of got a little confusing, so I'm not going to put a tinfoil hat on and get into the reasons why I think it's so strong. I'm not going to be that guy, but I do want to talk about this and what I think should happen. So of course, this trigger, the Maelstrom trigger, should in fact be nerfed. Do I think it should still one-shot? Absolutely. For an attachment like this that's very niche, one shot and done, you have to reload after, I think it should absolutely one shot. It's just that the degree to which it's one shotting right now is way too strong given how easy it is to use. And I know I might get some kind of backlash for that since I'm quote unquote the shotgun guy, and I mean, I understand that, but I don't want shotguns to be oppressive either, and this is definitely an oppressive shotgun, and I want them to be balanced so also they don't get nerfed into the ground, because that's also another concern. And so what I think should happen with this particular gun is definitely this attachment just needs to catch a heavy nerf. And what the baseline for I think what should be happening is basically just cut that one-shot kill range down. Make it to where it's only out that range where you can hit fire. I think it's about like 3 meters max or so. Make it to where that range is the only one-shot kill range. In fact, I would even reduce it to where as long as you have attachments on it, like max range attachments, at most you should be one-shotting with this thing out to about that 3.5 meter mark. I don't want this to turn into sort of Vondel staircase simulator where you really can't fight back if someone has this thing in the staircase because it's just one and done. Even with the heavy pump actions, you still have to hit your second shot, and that typically involves the enemy running away. You got to chase them, so that balances out a lot more than just it being a one-shot kill. So like I said, it should still one-shot kill, but I think maybe 3 meters max, maybe 4, 3.5. That's kind of where it should be sitting, just off of my initial impressions of the gun and how I think it should function. I think that it's just way too easy to use currently. The reward is way too great, and there's a reason that everybody and their mom is using this thing, let's be honest. Another potential idea for balancing it, in addition to lowering that one-shot range, is just cutting that effective range by a lot. Like I'm saying, you shouldn't be getting hit markers out past 15 meters or so. It still does quite a bit of damage out that far, and you're not going to one-shot, but I think another way to kind of keep it in check and make it a little bit sort of niche, but still really really strong is to make it to where it just can't get hit markers past a certain range, at least less than what it has now. Another potential they could do is just limit it to where it only uses buckshot and you can't use slugs or dragon's breath. Slugs I don't really have a problem with. I know some people have been sniping with it, but you still have to aim and kind of hit your shots and hit a headshot from what I can see. It doesn't really seem like it's that destructive. I think a lot of the sniper community might be pissed at that, but whatever. I'm sure their time will come. They're going to get one-shot snipers back in Modern Warfare 3. I'm sure of it. I'm sure it's going to happen with Raven and Control. So it's going to happen. I'm not really too worried about slugs, but Dragon's Breath, maybe just keep it to where you can't use Dragon's Breath on this gun at all if you're using that attachment. Another thing they could possibly do is just limit it to where if you have this trigger on, you can only use the sawed-off barrel. And I know the sawed-off barrel is kind of crappy, but with this thing, it really doesn't matter. You're still going to one-shot. It's just the range on this thing is going to be cut way down. So that kind of balances out itself, because with it, you wouldn't get it one-shots past, I don't think, 5 meters when I used it, even when you're aiming down sights. So they could just make it to where you can only use this trigger if you were using that sawed-off barrel, and that's probably the easiest route to go, if I'm going to be honest. I think it just kind of balanced itself out when I was using it with it, and it really wasn't that oppressive, so that might be the way to go. So these are just some potential solutions I have, some potential ideas I wanted to throw out, and how to balance this thing. It's really cool we got this attachment. I am so excited for it, but it took this gun from like 0 to 100 just insanely fast, like in the blink of an eye. Now everybody's using it. It's going to get this gun nerfed. I swear to God, it's going to get over nerfed into the ground if we're not careful. So I just wanted to offer these alternatives. Only touch that Maelstrom attachment. Don't touch the base gun. Please, Raven, don't nerf the base gun. Just the trigger attachment. We worked so hard to get this thing the buffs that it got. We really don't need this coming back into where it was in like season 1, where it wasn't good at all. So like I said, these are just some potential ideas, but now I want to know down below in the comments, what do you guys think? Do you think that this thing is still way too strong? Do you think that I'm actually out of my mind and it's totally balanced and that you should be one-shotting at like 10 meters and that's totally fine? Or do you have any other alternatives into how you would balance this thing and keep it in the game? So with all that being said, guys, I will see you in the next shotgun video.